I think we'll first start with a brief introduction to this place, where we are, what we're going to look at, and then I'm going to point out the specific features here. Now this is, in my opinion, this is one of the best areas in the city of Delhi. There's no place like Tughlakabad, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy it very, very much. It's a great place, and there are many, many details, big and small, which you don't see or find anywhere else in the city. So it's quite unique as a monument complex. And most of what you are going to see here is also unique for the fact that it hasn't changed very much. And the thing with monuments is, or with urban landscapes is, places where we live, because people are constantly living at a place, they constantly change it. So even if I'm living at a historical site, I might alter it to suit my own needs and conveniences. Something like that hasn't happened to Tughlakabad very much. So many people have called it ruins frozen in time. So the Tughlaks built it, they abandoned it soon after, and not much has changed. Of course, the forces of nature have taken over, time has taken its toll on the buildings, and that is why you see that most of it is ruins. There are not many complete structures, palaces, which you're gonna see. What you mostly see is these huge walls, fortification walls. And that is why throughout most of the walk, I'll be basically pointing to a pile of stones and trying to convince you that this was a palace or this was a stable, things like that. Yeah? So we'll have to use a lot of imagination, and I'll try and make it more vivid in terms of stories or in terms of what the sultans, people who inhabited this place, were doing here. As a brief background, most of you would have heard of Tughlaks in some way or the other. Of course, we all were forced to study about them, whether we wanted or not. But also, Tughlaks have been part of our psyche in terms of folklore, in terms of, muhavras, sayings. We hear of what is called the Tughlaki Farman, which means an arbitrary order. It's a saying, it's a phrase in Hindi. So things like that. So they are very much part of our psyche. They're still used. So who on earth were they? Tughlaks were one of the rulers who ruled from northern India, and they were around in the 14th century, which means that they were part of what is called the medieval period in Indian history. And there are three Tughlaks whom we are concerned with. In the entire dynasty, there were three people who were the main movers and shakers. The first guy was Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. He's the founder of the dynasty, as well as the founder of this complex. So he built a lot. The second is his son and successor Muhammad Tughlaq, the most famous or the most notorious actually. Yeah. And the third is Firoz Shah Tughlaq, the successor of Muhammad. So you don't really have to remember all these names, you can just refer to them as Tughlaq 1, 2 and 3. That'll be simple. But these people have actually done a lot in terms of, they're very active people. So it's not just that they were sitting on the throne and basically enjoying themselves, they were also making a lot of hell for everybody around them, which is why they're constantly mentioned in contemporary records and people who are writing much after them also. And we are still talking about them because they left a lot of ruins to look at, and also a lot of things they did which are still, you could say, influencing us or influencing our history. So as we go along the walk, I'm going to be trying to discuss all of this with you. If you have any questions, please ask. If you have anything to share, you're most welcome to do so. Okay? And this is a large complex. There's plenty of space to walk around. But just be careful. There are some loose stones everywhere. So as you walk, make sure you're treading on firm ground. Yeah? It's a little difficult terrain to negotiate. Okay? Come. Entire fort complex. We have entered through a gate and then turned left. So the area we are covering now is what is called the palace area. You'll get a better idea of the layout once we are at an elevated bit, and then we'll be able to point out the relative positions of different parts of the fort. But this bit is the palace area, and we're now walking along what is the fortification wall. So we're going to be walking inside the walls and then try and see what was the kind of fortification which the Tughlaqs built for their forts, and which was actually typical of many other areas built by them as well. Now this bit, we are walking along a street which goes east-west. This is the western side, yeah. So the area we've just walked through is part of the original layout of the fort itself. So it's not a new conservation work innovation. This was part of the fort itself, the street, and we're going to be walking towards this area, which was part of the fortification. So it's not that this was open to the sky. This would have been a vaulted area. So you have to imagine soldiers trying to negotiate their way around this passage. Several levels to it. So the first one is the one which you see right behind me. This is the first tier. And after which they have built a ledge where we are all standing. It is about a few feet. And then another wall. And then behind it was an archway where we all walking. So the first level was this. These walls are much reduced now. So you have to imagine these walls not only with the slits you see on them, but also battlement pieces. Yeah? The battlements are patterns which are made on walls which have slits so that you can fire ammunition through it. And also for ventilation for people who are behind the walls. So these walls are actually quite incomplete. There would have been much more of it. So you provide a ledge after that, you build another level, and then there's a whole gallery to go around. So it's at least 3 tiers. And this is also, this is not the highest point in terms of fortification. Once you go into the citadel area, it's even higher. And what you notice is that all of these walls have what is called a batter, which means an inclination to the ground level. So they are not perpendicular to the ground, they are all at an angle to the ground. And this is called batter. It's not as the same as the batter for the cakes. It's a technical architectural term, which means that the walls are at an angle to the ground, they are not perpendicular. And this is a characteristic feature of the Tughlaq architecture. Anywhere you go, and whatever the Tughlaqs built, whether it was forts, whether it was their tombs, any other public building they might have built, all their walls are slanting. You see the masonry like this? This was the basic core of the wall, and then above it, there would have been a facing for the wall, made up of nicely polished, dressed stones, yeah? Even in size, with a smooth surface. And all of these would have formed a covering to these walls. So when you see stones jutting out unevenly, these are remains of that dressing. You will see more examples of these, but these are what remain in this bit. The rest of all is all gone. Why is it gone? Firstly, not time. These stones just fell away. Tughlaq, which means Tughlaq I, is the founder of the city. He didn't rule for a very long time, and this guy is actually a very, very able warrior and administrator. How did the city come into being first? He was Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Tughlaq I was an employee of the last Khalji Sultan. And the story goes that they were just walking through, or maybe riding their horses through this area, and Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq comments or tells his Sultan that, look, this is a nice area to build a fort. The Sultan thinks, what is the slave trying to tell me and giving me random suggestions? So he responded sharply and saying that when you go ahead, when you become the Sultan, you go ahead and build your own fort there. And apparently that's what happened. Later this Khalji Sultan was killed off, not by Tughlaq, but another chap who ruled for a brief time. And Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq or Tughlaq I comes in, kills off the other chap, avenges the Khalji Sultan, and becomes the first Tughlaq to rule from here. And he builds his fort here. So this is his doing, and it was built in a very, very short time, about 2 years' time. So all this you see around is 2 years' work, which is actually not that unusual. Many cities were built very, very quickly, 1.5 years, 2 years or so.
Can't build a house.
Yeah, now you can't. Tughlaq is actually busy trying to quell rebellions here and there. The Mongols are a big problem all the time. In fact, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq became famous as an administrator and a warrior under the Khaljis for his reputation of being extremely good against the Mongols. He was posted at what is today the Multan area in the Pakistan region today, and that's where the Mongols are trying to come in all the time. And Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq was extremely good at killing them off. Maybe there were stories about how he killed off all Mongols, cut their heads and used their heads to construct the walls of his fort. All kinds of stories like this. Basically trying to show how effective he was in tackling the Mongol menace. And one reason for all the kind of defensive structures you see around here, the solid defenses, is that the Mongol threat never actually goes away in this period. So for anybody who is in North India, they are a constant presence. They can attack anywhere. They might not come and rule, but they'll just raid and be a pain in the neck all the time, and you don't want that. So that's all the defense. Now, there's another story about how Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq died early, and I'll come to that a little later. But his successor Muhammad Tughlaq was accused of killing him off, and they say that Muhammad started ruling from here, but soon abandoned it. One reason for that was that all kings do that. All kings want new capitals for themselves. They all want nice, swanky palaces. So it's a tradition that everybody who comes in likes to build a new capital for himself. The second reason, which is only hinted at, never really said in black and white, is that because he was guilty of killing his father, he was never really comfortable living in his father's palace. So once he took over, he was around for a bit, but he soon abandoned this place and built a new capital for himself.
Who was that?
He first moved on to Siri, which was the older capital of the Khaljis. Then he built a small citadel for himself, which is called Adilabad. You'll be able to see it once the sky is a little clearer. And then later, when he decided to completely abandon this area, he went to what is called Jahanpana. What he did was he built a huge wall around the already existing cities in Delhi, which is what is today the Saket, Malviya Nagar, Sarvapriya Vihar area. So there were already cities of Siri there, there were some bits of Prithviraj Chauhan's fort there and all of that. So he put an enclosing wall around it, built some new structures for himself, what is the Begumpur Masjid, the Vijay Mandal, this is all in the Malviya Nagar area, and then called it Jahanpana. So that was his capital. So this is why, and it's actually strange that you build such a huge structure and nobody lives in it for very long.
After that he went to Daulatabad.
Yeah.